All right, Shalom. This is Azam Awath. First and foremost, I want to say, Call Halayim, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Harakah Kadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and salutations to the Bakiyar, the elect, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. And as always, it's an honor and privilege to continue to do this work.
We race to develop a coronavirus vaccine. Some major questions are emerging. Good evening. I'm Kimberly Hunt.
And I'm Steve Atkinson. A lot of people are wondering if the government could force people to get it. Or could people who refuse get banned from stores or lose their jobs? ABC 10 News anchor Derek Stahl spoke with a legal expert to get some answers.
Imagine a world where you have to get vaccinated and show proof to go shopping, board a plane, or just go to work. Legally, it could happen, says University of San Diego law professor Dov Fox.
States can compel vaccinations in more or less intrusive ways. They can limit access to schools or services or jobs if people won't get vaccinated. It could force them to pay a fine or even lock them up in jail. Those measures have been adopted in other countries like France, but not so far in the United States.
It all dates back to a Supreme Court case in 1905. The court held that Massachusetts could fine people for not getting vaccinated against smallpox. That case became the basis of vaccine requirements at schools across the country.
Courts have found that when medical necessity requires it, the public health outweighs the individual rights and liberties.
And real quick, who brought smallpox to the Native Americans in one of the first instances in history in which biological warfare was used? It was Esau, man, the so-called white man. He brought that bacteria that causes smallpox, you know, just like he's bringing all these other diseases. They even make mention in certain movies, most notably the old school movie Ace Ventura. I believe one individual in the movie was telling Ace, I don't know if the child was the Wuchatu, but he was saying the Wuchatu never knew disease until the white man came. And that reigns true throughout the annals of history, man. You know, when the so-called white man came on the scene, that's when death and destruction and sicknesses came prevalent among the people in which they were around, because they are the wicked. You know, they're set up to bring death with them, man. You know?
Just last year, New York City passed an ordinance fining people for not getting a measles vaccination. But there's a big difference between what states have the power to do and what Congress could do.
There are these questions, separation of powers, Commerce Clause questions.
Professor Fox says a federal vaccine requirement would probably get shot down by the current Supreme Court based on a 2012 ruling on the Affordable Care Act. That means we could have a patchwork of different vaccination requirements in different states. Professor Fox says states would need to allow exemptions for people with legitimate medical risks like pregnancy, but not exemptions for other reasons.
Religious exemptions, philosophical ones, have
Yeah, so the main exemption that you're not going to be able to use, that they're really going to pinpoint, especially in these times, as you see men on the street corners bringing out this word, bringing out the scriptures, is the exemption of religion, man. You know?
largely been overridden in the name of public health.
However, Professor Fox says recent protests over face coverings show there's a big risk of a backlash here. And just because states have the power to require vaccinations doesn't mean it's the best public policy. Derek Stahl, ABC 10 News. And legal experts say that private businesses would have the authority to fire workers who don't want to get vaccinated for personal or religious reasons. Companies would just need to show that there are significant costs at stake for having unvaccinated employees.
Yeah, so it said private businesses have the liberty to fire you if you don't want to get the vaccine, which is going to cause even more strain on the unemployment, man. Which unemployment is already being strained in California as we speak, as Governor Newsom the past few days made mention that California doesn't have any more money to fulfill the extra $400 a week, man, to unemployment recipients, man. You know, So don't think that you're going to live a comfortable life, because once this round of unemployment goes down, which I do believe they're going to go ahead and fulfill that obligation for the last time, and they're going to fulfill the $1,200 stimulus check, which really doesn't do anything, you know. They're going to fulfill it, and then that's going to be it, man. Then Esau is going to do away with all these social services, because why? They covered themselves with, or laden themselves with thick clay or thick debt, you know. So this is the climate in which Esau is trying to create in this world, man. You know, I'm going to read the scriptures. This is Revelation chapter 3, verse 10. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, which is the law, statutes, and commandments, which is the scriptures. Salakia. It says, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation. And that hour of the temptation is a set amount of time of being tempted. And what better way to tempt someone to convert to this whole new way of thinking, this whole new age, this new world order, than saying, well, look, there's a pathogen, or there's a virus out there that are making people sick, you know. So in order for you to be around those that have gotten the vaccine, you need to get the vaccine, so we won't continually to have these infections. And just so we know that you have the vaccine, we're going to accompany it with this chip, with this RFID or NFC microchip, so we can not only chase you around through GPS, but you're also going to be able to buy or sell with this chip, man. That's going to be tempting, man. You know, because what? The majority of these people, they live the liberal life, man. This society, this Esau's power can only provide liberally. And why I say that is because that's the reason why they operate on the theme of convenience, man. Everything has to be convenient, because they're only giving you just so much, man. But in the kingdom, we're going to have abundantly. And my analogy for it is just, for instance, food. You know, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua is going to give us abundantly. So in the kingdom, we're going to have acres. We're going to have land full of livestock, full of animals, you know, where it's going to have to require time and be time consuming and laborious to even prepare a meal, man. You know, to slaughter the animal, to dress the animal, you know, to cook it, you know. Then you have to grow the vegetables, so you have to have some in the storage, you know. You gotta prep the food. All that is time consuming. But in Esau's society, he gives you what, 3 days worth of groceries at the store for the whole area in which that grocery store provides to the community. And then he sets up these quick fixes called fast foods, which is all convenient, man, which is going to continue to get you sick. That's the reason why they put preservatives in it, to preserve it longer than it normally is preserved, man, before it starts to show mold, before it starts to show disease. And even if they have mold and disease in their food, they're going to throw it in there anyway, because it's convenient to them, man. You know, so in the kingdom, we're going to get abundantly. But on this side, everything's going to be done. It's going to be like trinkets, liberally given, you know. It says, just to make sure I'm saying the right word, we're just going to look it up. Liberal. I'm going to go to dictionary.com. Slovakia. Liberal is not the right word. It was what's another word when you maybe frugal. Frugally. Let's look it up. Yeah, frugal. Economical in use of or expenditure, prudently, saving or sparing, not wasteful, entailing little expense, requiring few resources, meager or scanty. And that's how Esau operates. So Salakia, the word I used was liberal, but really a better word to express the point would be frugal, you know, dealing with convenience that requires few resources, man. And that's the spirit of Esau, because when you think about him coming in from the hunt, you know, even if he did capture an animal, he didn't want to take the time to go through the process because it would have took a lot more time. So therefore, he went ahead and ate the raw meat because it was already in the pot, you know, whether if it was cooked or not, which that eating the blood is against the scriptures, you know. But going back to Revelation 3 and 10, says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation. So Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai is going to keep those individuals that kept his patience from the hour of temptation. He's going to provide for you, man. You know, it says, which shall come upon all the world. Because this is really, the things that are happening these days is really for the wicked, the sons of men, and the 2/3, man. You know, it says to try, which another word to try is to test them that dwell upon the earth, you know, whether it be gold, silver, or wood and stubble, right? Because they're going to be pushing out this RFID microchip, you know. This is Revelation chapter 13, verse 14, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles, which goes back to their technology, even the fast vax that they have concocted in their laboratories is part of their miracles, man. You know, part of their witchcraft. It says, which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, which is the conglomerate European alliance of military of militaries, you know, the NATO and the EU. It says, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which hath the wound by a sword, it did live. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. You know, and that image is dealing with the whole system that it sets up, man. You know, it says, and he calls of all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand. So what better way to do that than say, oh, it's for the greater good. It's for people not getting sick and allegedly dying, you know. So you have to get this vaccine accompanied with this RFID, because we're doing away with cash, man. We're no longer going to be I'll just say giving out cash, man, to circulate, you know. It says to receive a mark in their right hand, and that word mark goes back to the Greek charagma, which means something inserted, you know, into your flesh, into your epidermis, with an epidermal needle, you know.
Strong's G 5480. Charagma. Charagma.
It says a stamp and printed mark, you know, and that's one of the primitive forms of the RFID in its development. First, they had a stamp in which you could put on your skin. Then they have a imprinted mark, you know. It says, of the mark stamped on the forehead or on the hand as the badge of the followers of the Antichrist, which There's many antichrists. It says the mark branded upon horses, thing carved, sculpture, graven work of idolatrous images. And then when you go to the Strong's definitions, a scratch or etching. So with an epidermal needle, it's almost as like it's etching or cutting or making an incision, because that's what you do with stone. When you etch something, you know, it's going to do it in your skin, man. Whether it be your right hand, your left hand, or your forehead into your brain, you know. So that's the RFID microchip. It says to receive a mark in their hand, in their right hand, or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that hath the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. And all this is coming very quickly, man. You know, so this is how Esau wanted everything set up, so you can go to him. Everything that he says to do, he expects you to do it because you don't have anywhere else to go. This is Deuteronomy chapter 20. And with that being said, who can challenge his power on earth? No one, except Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. This is Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 48. It says, therefore shalt thou serve thy enemies, which Yahweh shall send against thee, in hunger. So you're going to have to go to Esau for food and subsistence, you know, and in thirst for water, and in nakedness for clothing, and in want of all things. Well, this setup in this life is to go to Esau, you know, but true believers, true worshipers are going to go directly to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, right? It says, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. Yeah, because of that perpetual hatred, and for the punishment in which Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua is putting upon his people for their disobedience. This is Deuteronomy chapter 29, verse 10. Ye stand this day, all of you, before Yahweh your power, your captains of your tribes, your elders and your officers, with all the men in Israel, your little ones, your wives, and thy children, and thy stranger that is in thy camp, from the hewer of thy wood unto the drawer of thy water, that thou shouldest enter into covenant or contract with Yahweh thy power, and into his oath, which Yahweh thy power maketh with thee this day, that he may establish thee today for a people unto himself, and that he may be unto thee as a power, as he hath said unto thee, and as he hath sworn unto thy fathers, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob. Neither with you only do I make this covenant and this oath. So it's only directed towards the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, you know, the covenant, the contract, the laws, statutes, and commandments. Verse 15, but with him that standeth here with us this day before Yahweh our power, and also with him that is not here with us this day, for we know how we have dwelt in the land of Egypt, and how we came through the nations which ye passed by. And ye have seen their abominations and their idols, and wood and stone, silver and gold, which were among them. Lest there shall be among you man or woman or family or tribe, whose heart turneth away this day from Yahweh our power, to go and serve the powers of these nations, which they're no gods, right? Lest there should be among you a root that beareth gall and wormwood. And it come to pass, when he heareth the words of this curse, that he bless himself in his heart, saying, I shall have peace, though I walk in the imaginations of my heart, to add drunkenness to thirst. Yahweh will not spare him, but then the anger of Yahweh and his jealousy shall smoke against that man, and all the curses that are written in this book shall lie upon him, and Yahweh shall blot out his name from under heaven. And Yahweh shall separate him unto evil out of all the tribes of Israel, according to all the curses of the covenant that are written in this book of the law, so that the generation to come of your children that shall rise up after you, and the stranger that shall come from a far land shall say, when they see the plagues of that land and the sicknesses which Yahweh have laid upon it, and that the whole land thereof is brimstone and salt and burning, that it is not sown nor beareth, nor any grass groweth therein, like the overthrow of Sodom and Gomorrah, Admah and Zeboim, which Yahweh overthrew in his anger and in his wrath. Even all nations shall say, wherefore have Yahweh done thus unto this land? And meaneth the heat of this great anger. Then men shall say, because they have forsaken the covenant of Yahweh the Most High, their fathers, which he had made with them, he brought them forth out of the land of Egypt. Yeah, because ultimately this land that we're in today, America, is going to be burnt with fire. And not just America, but a lot of different regions all around the world, which you can get a gist of that in 2nd Ezra, the 16th chapter, the 1st verse. But going to verse 26, it says, for they went and served other powers and worshipped them, powers whom they knew not, and whom he had not given unto them. And anger of Yahweh was kindled against his land, it's like against this land, to bring upon it all the curses that are written in this book. And Yahweh rooted them out of their land in anger and in wrath and in great indignation, and cast them into another land, as it is this day. The secret things belong unto Yahweh our power, but those things which are revealed belong unto us and to our children forever, that we may do all the words of this law. Yeah, so ultimately that us is talking about the elect and their children, because the rest were blinded, you know. So just like you probably saw that video where it just shows how Esau was trying to search out all the stars, and when maybe I could bring it up. I'll bring it up at the end of the video. When Esau was just showing you the scale of the universe, it was just innumerable. But those are the things in which Yahweh Shai and his father Yahweh know, you know. But he revealed it onto us the things that we know as far as these scriptures and the good news of the breakdowns, man. You know, and this is Joshua chapter 24, verse 15. And if it seemed evil unto you to serve Yahweh, because a lot of men, a lot of souls, a lot of people, you know, they feel serving Yahweh by Shubin Yahushai is evil, right? It says, choose you this day whom ye will serve, because everyone's going to have to make that choice. Are you going to serve this beast system, or are you going to serve Yahweh Shai? It says, whether the gods which your fathers served that were on the other side of the flood, or the gods of the Amorites in whose land ye dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve Yahweh. Yeah, so the true worshipers and believers of the elect are going to serve Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai and stand stiffly for it. You know, so going to that video, I was talking about how Esau is trying to determine the full scale of the universe. Let me see if I can find it real quick. And then I'll just go ahead and end it. So with that, I hope at least one brother of the elect was edified. And I'm going to say shalom. So, say shalom.